Steel producer calls to grow local businesses. Party founder says leadership critical. And Tepend to focus on attack.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Saturday's news. As the Marape government envisions on refining gold or other metals in country, the possibility of engaging local manufacturers and distributors of metal products in major resource projects comes to the fore. Atlas Steel PNG, the largest steel manufacturer and distributor in the country, raised this concern today when showcasing some of its kit home products along Atlas Bay Road at Baruni.
Apart from selling locally manufactured and fabricated steel, Atlas Steel PNG is also going into building homes for its customers using steel and other related building materials. Some of these home products were open to the public for inspection this morning at its Baruni sales and warehouse facility.
So these are basically 40, 60 and 90 square meter houses, which are kit homes. That means we send the components to the site, which are then assembled and constructed on site. We also have modular homes, which is the one we are standing here in. This is a 40 square meter modular home, which is basically built entirely in our factory, delivered to site on truck beds, and then just put up on stumps and ready probably in between 4 to 6 weeks, ready to live in. So these are the two different kinds of home models that we are promoting in Papua New Guinea. We know there's a very big demand for homes here in the country.
Having a home is everyone's dream, whether it be on state land or customary land in rural or urban areas. However, being eligible and meeting certain requirements can be a challenging thing. Atlas Steel PNG is now partnering with various stakeholders such as real estate companies and commercial banks like BSP Financial Group Limited to enable a more conducive and faster way for home buyers.
We are not involved in the process of getting arranging loans for customers, but again, it's an integral part of building a house. So the good thing about it is that BSP knows Atlas Steel, they know our product, and they are on the forefront processing a lot of loans for people. When they hear about somebody or they come across an application which requires a steel home to be constructed and they see Atlas Steel as a name, as a supplier, I think they have that level of trust in us, and definitely it helps in processing the paperwork much faster.
As more major resource projects come onto the country's economic pipeline and as the Marape government eyes downstream processing, local steel manufacturers and producers such as Atlas Steel PNG want the government to provide opportunities for them in these major resource projects.
What we would like to see the country do for us as a local manufacturer is to try and protect companies like us who are putting in all our resources, all our effort to retain the manufacturing in the country. So probably some kind of taxation structure for importing finished products from overseas, that would be a very big help to us. That would be one thing. The second thing that comes across to me would be that there are so many government projects coming up here. And in these kind of government projects, if they could promote using local fabricators and local products like us, that would really be good for us. You know, as a local organization, we are employing so many people, and if we get more business, we will employ more people. It's a cycle.
Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
In its second last day of the 2021 Parliament calendar, the House paid respect and tribute to the Middle Ramu MP, late Johnny Along. He was described as a humble leader who served with people's interest at his heart. His casket was taken to the floor of Parliament as both sides of the House paid their tributes to the leader.
The casket of the Middle Ramu MP was taken into Parliament House by Correctional Institute officers. Members of his immediate family and relatives also joined. He was laid for almost an hour as his colleagues paid tribute.
He was one truly the gentleman who served his people of Middle Ramu with his fullest ability. I had the privilege of spending one night at Simbai with him, and he said, I have a house kunai, that you can come and stay over with me. And he took me to Simbai, and we stayed one night there. May I pass also our sympathies to the extended network of the United Resource Party, of which he was a faithful member of in his time of passing. May his soul rest in peace. And I know for sure when Jesus comes back the second time, he will rise to eternal life. May his soul rest in peace.
Opposition leader Beldan Nama said late Along was a quiet hard worker. He said the Middle Ramu MP is a straight shooter and one that pushes for more services through his district.
Leader, where MP say talk, lick, but walking plenty walk. Me plan opposition. Me play Senap one the family. Long late Honorable Johnny Ananias Along. Me play Senap one all people from Middle Ramu, all people from Medang. All supporters blame throughout the country. Long scale him this la bel wari la bel sorry from me play.
Johnny Along was voted in 2017 by the people of Middle Ramu in Medang. He ran under the United Resource Party. URP leader and State Minister William Dumas said it's a loss for his party, people of Middle Ramu, Medang and the country.
Lord, my mouth, Lord, the land, me talk. Thank you, Lord God. Lord, give me this, Lord, the strong plan, the unique leader. Lord, land, the Middle Ramu, and Lord Medang, and Lord Pavo Nigni. Honorable Johnny Ananias Alak. What can I say? God give you Logota. Name to me go back. May your soul rest in eternal peace. Until we meet again, brother.
Other leaders also paid tributes.
A man who spoke passionately about his people, about his country, and about doing what is right. And I do not know of anyone else in this parliament who was as positive as the late Johnny Along. In the very brief time that I came to know him, no matter the circumstances and challenges and difficulties that we were faced with, whenever you encountered Johnny, he was always positive, always smiling, always courteous. He spoke to everyone. He greeted security guards, cleaners, and he spoke to the people who sometimes we pass by without seeing. But Johnny had time for everyone.
I talk sorry for me, because people from Middle Ramu. Lo when I talk people make him, na support him, but me continue to make him. Na supporting people from Ramu. Lo when I talk people make him long time me play trouble go. Na vision him elected long. Big plan abarda. May your soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Me salim big plan talk sorry blomi. Golong Mary now Pikinini, now people belong Middle Ramu, now family long Mount Hagen we have been stabbed na melongol. Na tu lo leader belong URP party. Na party belong URP long despla good plamani me Lucy mem. Thank you. Goodbye. Me salute you, brother Blomi. See you in heaven one day.
Late Johnny Along is the fourth member of parliament to pass away in this 10th House of Parliament. Jack Lopava Jr. National EMTV News.
People's Party founder Sir Peter Ipata says his party wants to be a major coalition in the next government. He says the country is staggering despite having good leaders. Sir Peter made this remark earlier this week.
Speaking earlier this week, the Enga governor says the country is challenged by many factors. He says though alternate governments take office, the management of the country always is an agenda. Sir Peter said his party wants to be a major player in the next government.
I am the founding leader of the party, but as you can see, we have got Dr. William Tongap, who's a very young, vibrant, well-qualified, educated leader in the party. So was Minister for Fisheries, the Honorable Dr. Tom Lino. So this party will be here for a while. So we are now trying to establish the institution properly again, after making a sacrifice for PNC and the country at the time. We believe that some of our principles, as the leader has alluded to, must now be, of course, in the forefront of major coalition partners leading the country.
Sir Peter Ipatas has been in politics for almost more than half of his life. He believes critical decisions must be made to redirect PNG's development pathway. He says some issues may differ among coalition parties.
There's a clear demarcation under the Constitution guiding how a country should be managed. And therefore, strengthening of the systems and walking on our own lane is very important for this country. This country is not progressing as much as we want to see it progress because of over-politicization in this country. And so we believe that with the leadership of the young leaders that we have and all these like-minded leaders we are identifying who must have credibility, these leaders who we will choose as candidates going into the election must not have any tainted reputation. Because I think all of us as citizens of this country agree that over time, a lot of parties who do not have the interest of the country have the numbers. And so our Prime Minister and the leadership is always compromised. But we believe that if People's Party is given more numbers, we can influence a better government for PNG going forward. So that's basically why
People's Party is now announcing its candidates who will be contesting in the 2022 national elections. He says his party is small but is growing. The younger governor said profound and vibrant leadership is needed.
We as a party, obviously we are going ahead to announce our candidates early because we are small. We will not be fishing all over the place. We will identify certain electorates that we want to contest in, and we'll go to the people. But at the same time, I want to take this opportunity for the people to remember this. The elections are for you, the people. You assess the leadership over 5 years. You assess as members of parliament over 5 years. A lot of people are always disappointed with leadership. That seems to be the norm of the attitude of our people. But when it comes to actual voting, they end up voting for the same people they complain about. So, as a party, we have already resolved in Jiwaga to supporting this Marape government going forward. But going forward, People's Party has to have some numbers. Members of Parliament on the floor.
Jack Lapawe Jr. National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after these messages. Stay with us. A member of the Parliament Gender-Based Violence Committee says the next government must support the work of the committee Alata MP Charles Abel says many issues remain outstanding as the country battles to address this social dilemma. Abel said it's critical for political powers and the Parliament House to embrace this committee going forward. He says it's a collaborative effort if leaders and people wish to end violence against women and girls and let women share leadership roles.
We continue to advocate for the special temporary measures around reserved seats for women in Parliament. It's a controversial topic, and there is no perfect solution to this issue. But we feel strongly, especially after the comments made by the Prime Minister, that something needs to be done, even if it's an interim measure, to make it easier for women leaders to come to the floor of Parliament, where today there are no representation from women in the floor of Parliament, despite the fact that women make up slightly more than 50% of the population. So we also been pursuing that, and I've written to the Prime Minister. There's a process underway, as you know, with the Boundaries Commission. There's the Attorney General is looking at different ways to structure legislation to make that possible. So it's quite a process, and it is not looking very likely. But we continue to advocate for it, and we continue to push Justice Minister, push the Attorney General, which is the Secretary for the Department of Justice, remind the Prime Minister of those commitments. And if it is at all possible, the Parliamentary Committee will be supporting the legislation that is required to make that possible. For a temporary measure to facilitate that process, and ultimately, of course, it becomes the normal democratic process, open process. But in this case, the Prime Minister talked about 5 regional seats for women. And there's been a lot of discussions about how that would actually happen. But that is also a measure that we continue to support.
Madang Governor Peter Yama says going rural is a policy his government will continue to embrace and serve people. Yama said rural places are hardly reached, but levels of government must work together for service delivery. He made these remarks following his recent visits to Umboldi and Paruvi in the right coast area of Madang.
Embracing his going rural policy, the Madang governor flew to inland Raikos by chopper. He was received by the locals at Umboldi village, one of the least developed areas in Raikos district.
Time you stop long vote, you give him power long member na governor. Member and the governor must walk boom one time. So was member you want them governor, I'm gonna put 50,000 kina. How about me? I'm gonna put 50,000 kina.
His visit follows an early allocation of 50,000 in 2019, which locals used to build and support the local primary school. Amazed by the work of the locals, Governor Yama committed another 100,000 for a new double classroom. The school enrolls over 100 students in the Astrolabe LLG. He then opened a new classroom.
Mr. Deputy Governor, Chairman of Education, the same time Provincial Administrator of the Madang government, you officially look long. Ako ito long work, money government, ni put him na come up good. Our same na me na committee 100,000, and by another classroom by me walk him when the house teacher. Thank you, Lord, Chairman. Thank you, Lord, Workman, the teacher. Now was the one who passed long. Make sure also money you be spending, give him the Yupla, use him wisely, and use him for the good cause. Now picking blah but you say good now. I'm kind passing leadership you like. So him here, Chairman. Me one bell threat when the council blah.
In a similar event, Governor Yama visited Paruvi village along the coastline of Raikos. This was an area not so much visited by mandated leaders. Hearing the plight of the people, Governor Yama announced the 2 million subsidy plan for cocoa, coffee and copra farmers.
Price him, okay, maybe bring him more money to pocket block people. So people are stabilizing this kind price. Now people are putting money in salary. So people blow me here, you know, can worry long cacao and copra. So time by me fixing worry blah.
At Paruvi, Yama committed 100,000 kina for the primary school and another 100,000 for Paruvi TVET. He also told the people his government will support work of churches through its 1/10 policy.
1/10 policy, and we belong God, Pastor. Covenant belong God, one them Israel belong God, Israel one them Papua New Guinea. Government belong Madang, you may got covenant, one them display God. 1/10 policy, money go back to people. Go along God.
Jack Lapower Jr., National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more stories after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The Sri Lanka Papua New Guinea Friendship Foundation today presented cash and kind to the Cheshire Disability Services. The donation is done annually as part of their Christmas charity donation program. This is the second donation done by the Friendship Foundation.
The Cheshire Disability Services in Port Moresby received an early Christmas gift this morning. Since last year, the Sri Lanka Papua New Guinea Friendship Foundation started supporting the Cheshire Disability Services in cash and kind.
So today we made this donation in light of Christmas. We know the Christmas is giving and caring needy people. The total estimated value of this donation is 15,000 kina. This includes food items, the clothing and detergent and other consumable items.
According to President Pandita Bandara, the Christmas charity donation was made possible by the members of the Friendship Foundation who work in various companies in the city.
So they were able to negotiate with the companies and they collected these donations from those companies. These companies include Packtrade, PNG Limited, Goodman Fielder, CPL Limited, Brian Bell, Helium Motors, then Boroko Foodworld, and Modern Group PNG and Brand Force Limited.
Program Support and Operations Officer for Cheshire Homes, Tom Sawon, was thankful to the foundation for the timely donation.
Mobilizing his countrymen and women to provide the support as part of the community social responsibility to Cheshire, and also being the Christmas festive season. It is timely that these donations come through to help us here at Cheshire, and also we share the blessings with other charity organizations within Port Moresby as well as many of our beneficiaries that are out in the settlements within NCD and some parts of Central Province as well.
Bandara is hoping that the year 2022 will be a good year for them to continue the charity program. Podivai, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. Chukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. SPPNG Hunters assistant coach Stanley Tepend will be focused on the team's attacking next season. This was confirmed by coach Matthew Church. Church also added that he and the two assistant coaches in Tepend and Paul Aiton are focusing on getting the new players up to par with the team's overall focus for next season.
The SPPNG Hunters is a high-performance program centered around enhancing talent from Papua New Guinea, with majority of the players from the country's semi-professional competition, the Digicel Cup. After Intra Super Cup Premiership winning coach Michael Marum had passed the coaching job on to Matthew Church, Church has always wanted an experienced assistant coach with vast knowledge of players in the Digicel Cup competition. Finally, the inclusion of Premiership winning coach Stanley Tepend as assistant coach in the 2022 season, one of the most successful coaches in the semi-professional competition, has been like a dream come true for Matthew Church. Church adding that he wanted Tepend in the Hunters the first day he took the coaching job.
whenever you can add someone of Stanley's resume or experience and success to your coaching staff, you certainly want to bring that on board. I was keen to work with Stanley the moment I got the Hunters job, so finally got my man and got him over the line to come on board this year. So I'm looking forward to what he brings to the table, and like his intimate knowledge of some of the guys that have trained under him, and obviously we have a high Tigers contingent, but there are other guys that have been to the Tigers before that he's provided some insights on, and other guys around the Digicel Cup.
Under the stewardship of Matthew Church this season, the Hunters had a great start to the 2021 season, but for the majority of the season were not performing to the standard that was expected of the team. The relocation to Australia had a lot of benefits for the team and rugby league in Papua New Guinea going forward. But on the field, the Hunters fell way outside of the final scene. With Tepend as assistant coach next season, he adds another dynamic to the team, and Church says he will play a key role in ensuring the new players are up to par with the team's overall focus in the 2022 season.
Yeah, look, Stanley's been a great addition to Paul Aiton and myself. Paul will look after defence in 2022 and Stanley will look after attack. Obviously, I'll have the overriding say on what we do and how we do it. But both of them fitted in well. They've been really good in the pre-season. Obviously, want to work on our halves combination. We obviously got rid of two of our most experienced halves last year. So some young halves and some guys that are just coming into the program. So work on those combinations with the halves and our hookers and our fullback to make sure our spine's strong and we kick well and get ourselves into good positions on the field.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast. In the southern region, showers and thunderstorms right across the region in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerema, Alotau and Popondita. In the Momase region, cloudy with a few showers in Lae and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine weather in Lorengau and afternoon showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, showers and thunderstorms in Mount Hagen and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Saturday, 4th of December 2021. Until next time, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.